Good.
Nice.
Have you got yourself sorted out
Yes.
now?
I've got it figured out
He
now.
apparently didn't want anybody to watch us today. He has kind of had a little goof up.
I misclicked and made it members only, and sorry.
Sorry.
But it's all fixed now.
It's oh, it promises to be an exciting day. We are going to have a little bit of fun with mixed media today. I've been looking forward to this. Haven't played with stamps and stencils and a variety of things in a while, so I've been a little lonesome for some mixed media. And this is a fun piece to do. It's a great beginner piece because it starts with some really basic techniques, and we're just going to put a whole bunch of fun things together, and we're going to end up with a really fun little piece of art that you can hang up, and lots of dimension because we're going to do an applique, a little wooden piece that's going to sit on top of everything else just to give it a little extra dimension. So that's fun. And that's going to be the start of, we've got a lot of fun stuff coming up. We're going to be getting into doing some more holiday stuff and some real basics. We're going to go right back to basics on a few things. And I'm excited about that. We are enjoying some lovely fall weather. Thankfully, Fiona didn't do a whole lot of damage in our area. Thankfully, there's a lot of people on the rock and on the island that are still struggling and will be for a while, unfortunately. However, watching the news the last few weeks of friends, I've really been worried about friends and painting pals and people that I know through the internet that live in the state of Florida. You guys have been through the ringer down there this week with Ian. And believe me, we're thinking about you. There's tons of opportunities to help out if you are of a mind to. The local Red Cross Society is always looking for donations, whether it's clean blankets and materials or even financial donations. So if you have a mind to, don't be afraid to get in touch with some of those organizations and try to help out as many people as we possibly can. We're going to, we do have a shout out today. I have a nice shout out today. It's one I haven't done before. I'm excited about that. The shout out today goes to erikajoanne.com. Erika Joanne Art. I know some of you know who she is. She is one of those people that just you like instantly. You can't help yourself. One, she's a lovely, lovely lady. I don't know that she even knows how to be unkind to anyone. She has always struck me as being just one of the most genuine and kind people I've ever met. So she is my shout out for today for a couple of reasons. One, just a sweet lady, but two, an absolutely incredibly talented artist. The woman does just the most amazing things with acrylic paint and colored pencils. So if you want to do something fun and colorful and happy and joyous and have a great time doing it, go and check out www.erikajoanne.com. The link is in the description. Thank you. I'm having trouble with the English language today. I'm hooped because that's, my mother tongue.
Yes. And the zombie's back.
And the zombie is back. Yes, I know. We've been watching the zombie this morning. You guys asked for it. You got it.
Yeah, you asked for the zombie. The zombie is back.
Not to mention it's October.
Yes.
Yes. I'm in Halloween mode.
Yeah.
I've
got somebody shares.
Yes. Oh no, what did you do? I haven't seen that. Could be good, could be bad. I don't know. Even my watch has a skull on it today. Not just the strap, even the face. I have a skull.
On the face.
On the face. Yeah. I'm a happy camper.
You have a face on the face.
Yeah.
Your watch.
I have a face on the face of my watch. Yes.
That's kind of creepy.
It is creepy.
Almost
it's kind of cute. I like it.
Almost Dahmer-esque.
Dahmer. Have you watched that new Netflix
No,
thing? No, me either. It's one of those.
He creeped me out well before they put him on Netflix. So.
Well, the actor that's playing him creeped me out just in the trailer. I was like, you knew. Thank you. So, Halloween's coming up, and then shortly thereafter, I mean, next weekend for us is Thanksgiving. For
Yay.
us Canucks have ours a little earlier than you,
Yeah.
mainly because we don't want to have to shovel snow for Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah.
So, so we have it early. So we have Thanksgiving weekend coming up next weekend. We are still going live on Saturday. Thanksgiving is on Monday. So we have Thanksgiving coming up. And then shortly after that, we have Halloween. And then after Halloween, it's, we got to get ready for the holidays. And the 12 days of Christmas coming up on the 3rd of December. So we have lots to keep you busy in the next few weeks.
12 Days of Christmas is going to be a big stream.
It is going to be a big stream. It'll probably be a long one.
Yeah.
But it'll be
typical
fun.
stream is anywhere between 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah. This
Your
one might be a
12
bit
Days
longer.
of Christmas has a tendency to go to 4 to 5.
Yeah.
So there's lots of prizes to be won.
There are lots. And I think what we're going to do so that we're not tying it up, an hour at the end of it, Renee is just going to consistently spin the wheel throughout the day and make a list of all of the winners, and then we'll announce the winners at the end of it, because otherwise we'll be here forever.
I'm going to have a wheel in the shot.
Okay.
So while you're painting and teaching, it's just going to pop up and randomly spin, and whatever name shows up.
Oh, cool. That's cool. Okay. Well, leave the tech stuff to him.
Of course.
He figures out all sorts of neat stuff. So we're going to play and paint today, do a little bit of mixed media. I did have Happy Meal this week.
What kind of Happy Meal?
Well, it was Happy Meal I gave to myself.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you bought yourself something.
I bought toys.
You bought
It's
toys.
an art studio. What kind of toys do you think I bought?
Race cars?
I know. About a year ago, no, maybe not a year ago, about 6 months ago, one of the distributors sent me a nice little gift. I got a set of Derwent ChromaFlow colored pencils.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Oh, yes.
Nice little set. And I used them in the last couple of weeks. And I'm in love. They're just wonderful. The colors are rich. They're nice and smooth. I was really excited about them. So much so that I went and ordered myself a big set.
Pat High says hello from sunny Florida.
At least it's sunny.
So glad Ian is gone from here, and happy I have some sun.
Oh, good. Oh, I suppose, because they had a few gray days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sunshine State didn't have much sunshine for a little bit.
Ooh, dark and gloomy.
Yeah. No, so we're going to be playing with craft paper and some stamps and some paint and some stencils, and we're just in general going to have a good time creating our own decoupage paper this morning or this afternoon. And we're going to play with a variety of stamps. Some I have on the website, some I do not. So I'm going to show you a few that are favorites of mine. And we're going to talk about some basic techniques for creating a variety of things, whether it's decoupage paper or creating a nifty piece of art. I think by the end of today, you're going to have a pretty neat piece of artwork and have learned a few really fun techniques for doing things. It's not rocket science. It's just sometimes putting things in the right order more than anything else. So we're going to get started.
Oh, are we?
We are. If you switch us. Yes, no, maybe. Did you have something else you wanted to discuss?
No, I'm just trying to...
You didn't set up we didn't talk about giveaways. Okay.
So we're not ready to get started.
Okay, we're not ready to get started.
What's this?
I can't remember everything. I barely remember my own name half the time. What's in it? Okay, thank you for that. I just look at my business card. That's the easiest way to remember.
Yeah,
the giveaways for today are, I was busy last week and made a whole bunch of art stuff bags.
Art stuff.
And so I went through the giveaway stuff because we always have piles of it. Anyway, the art stuff bags are filled up. There's a stencil in there. There's some new pens in there. There's erasers in there. There's a bunch of stuff in there, but it's all art stuff. So there is fun little giveaway. And of course, there's a nice set of Dynasty brushes.
Boom.
So yeah, so it's a nice little package. Somebody's, 3 of you anyway, are going to get sometime in the next week or so. So that is our giveaway for today.
2 voices.
Well, there are 2 voices. There's 2 of us.
Yeah, there's 2 of us.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, angel and devil. It's always there.
And you know what? You can decide who's who.
I think they all know.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, the demon.
What?
He has a birthday coming up.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
I don't know who's more excited about your birthday. I think it's me. It just means that I get to do.
The demon has a birthday.
The demon has a birthday. Yes, he does.
And it does land on a 6.
So yes. So yeah, Renee's got a birthday coming up. So it'll be fun. We're trying to shop for a gift. Of course, he's not the easiest fella to buy for.
I don't need anything.
I know. So that's why you needed new shirts.
I need socks.
I tried to buy you socks.
I know.
So that makes a great birthday gift. A package of 12 pairs of socks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Costco Balo sock.
Costco's Balo socks. Yep, that's it. Alrighty. So can I get started now?
Oh, you want to paint?
I want to paint. Yes.
All right,
I want to play. I've got my screen up here. Hello. There. I can actually see the chat.
If you guys want the zombie to move out of the way, just let me know. If he's in a bad spot.
Okay. Why is this not showing?
I don't know.
Uh-huh.
What'd you do?
I don't know. What did I do?
What'd you break?
What did I break? Yeah, that's probably accurate. Oh, I'm on the wrong page. Honest to Pete, I'm trying to set up my Facebook page so I can actually see the live. Here we go. Okay. Yeah. It's down in the lower left corner.
Patrick, I'm 52 and my mom still buys me socks, underwear, and t-shirts.
See?
It's a thing.
It's a thing. It's a mom thing.
It's a mom thing.
Yeah. So the materials today are really straightforward. We're working on this is an 8x8 art panel. And this is just craft paper. You know, the type of stuff that you use to wrap parcels for the post. That's what we're going to be working on today. And there's 2 ways to do this. You can take the paper and adhere it to the board and do your stamping after the fact. Or you can do it before. Either one will work. However, I wanted to show you the easiest way to do this. So I'm going to grab my matte medium or decoupage medium, whichever you have on hand. I'm using Decor Media matte medium. I like this one. This is my favorite. And I'm going to use my favorite fugly brush. And I soak that in a little bit of water. You can tell this is my favorite. This one's almost empty. I use this quite a bit. So I get a fugly brush. Make sure it's wet so the bristles are a little softer. So it moves around. And we're going to use a generous dollop of matte medium. Generous. Primarily because I don't want this to dry before I get the paper on it. So I'm going to put a fair amount on here. And make sure that the whole surface has got a coat of this on it. Right up to the edges. Make sure the edges and corners in particular have got lots on. And then you're going to brush it until it's nice and even. You don't want to have it really goopy in one corner and next to nothing in another. So you want it fairly even. So I've got a nice even coat on there. And then I'm going to take my little spray bottle and I'm going to mist the paper with my, this is just water.
You sure that's not the one that has the avocado oil in it?
No, this is water.
Because there's one upstairs that has avocado oil.
Yes, it does, for a reason.
I know.
So I'm going to turn that paper over, and I'm going to mist the other side as well. And now I know you're probably wondering why. Well, paper, when it gets wet, has a tendency to stretch. And you want it to stretch before you lay it onto this adhesive and not after. So this way, when I lay that on, and I'm using my hands to smooth it out, and then you're going to grab your brayer, your little mini brayer, and you're going to roll this paper so that it's well seated into that matte medium. So two things happen. One, if there's any excess, it's going to ooze out around the edges. That's okay, because we're going to smooth that out a little later on. But it also removes any of the bubbles or ripples in the paper.
Oh, there's Debbie Daniker. Raffin. That's the name of her dog. Raffin. Raffin the Wonder Dog.
Raffin the Wonder Dog?
Yeah, from Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. So I spent my week, I packaged stencils this week. We got all of our surfaces in. Those little breadboards are back in. We got tons of those.
This is my only day off this week.
What's that?
This is my only day off this week.
I know.
Yeah.
You get to spend it with your mom.
Here I am.
Oh, let's face it, I'm more fun than most.
You're more fun than the art gallery. Tomorrow I'm going to be there from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m.
Yeah,
It's
long
my
day.
building for the day.
Yeah, cool.
I get to share it with one other person.
So I'm drawing this with a heat gun. That's one of the nice things about this, is that you can actually speed this up a little bit. And you can see it's drying very quickly. I do love that. I love how this stuff looks. Now, if you want to, as I said, you can stamp beforehand. You could stamp paper, do all of your stamping and stenciling beforehand, and then adhere it. And it really doesn't matter which way you do it. I just like doing it this way because then it's on a nice firm surface. So, almost there. Just a couple of little soft spots that we'll take care of real quick. Now, it is not completely dry under there, but it's close enough. So, I'm going to show you. Ta-da! Nail file. I use the coarse side for this. And you're going to sand on the edges, down and away. You don't saw back and forth because that'll pull the paper off, but just down and away along the edges. And when you do this, you get a nice clean edge. And I'm going to turn it. And yep, we do have a little bit oozing out. That's all right. Sand, sand, sand. And I like doing it with this little nail file because it gives you a nice smooth edge. Gives you a nice clean edge. You don't end up tearing the paper off. And it just gives you a nice finish in the end. And look how easy it is to take the rest of it off. Ta-da! Now, it is going to leave you with a little bit of matte medium oozing out because we rolled it into place. So instead of worrying about wiping it off, you just take your fugly brush with some matte medium in it, and you just brush the edges. You're going to have to brush all of it anyway, so it doesn't matter. But by putting that little extra at the edge, it seals that paper onto the surface really nicely so that you don't have to worry about the paper peeling off later on. And it cleans up all that mess. So then we're going to take our matte medium and we're going to brush a coat over top of everything. So neatness doesn't really count for this. You just want to get a nice even coat over top of the paper, just like so. So if it leaves a few little brush marks in it, that's okay. Not a big deal. And I love this. I love this technique because I like the brown paper. This one is not an expensive brown paper. It is actually the type that you would put over top of tables and whatnot. So it's a little fuzzy. So putting this coat on actually helps give it a really nice finish. So there we go. So I have a nice even coat of the decoupage or this matte medium over the whole surface, including the edges. And I'm going to dry it again. I've got a little, there we go. Now this dries actually quite quickly. And it dries perfectly clear, but you're going to end up with a nice matte finish when all is said and done. And this gives us a really nice stable surface to do all of the fun stuff that we're going to do to this. My little dryer here is, I love this thing. This is just one of the best investments. It's nice and quiet, especially for doing video. And it works so quickly. Now, if I were to leave this to dry, it would take probably about 20 minutes or so. Using this little dryer actually speeds up the process quite nicely, and so it only takes about 2 or 3 minutes to get it dry enough that it's workable. And we're almost there. You can see there's still a little bit of moisture underneath, but it's getting there. Now we're going to be using a bunch of different stamps. Pardon me. I just got a whole pile of my favorites in, and I decided to treat myself, and I've given myself a whole new set of the grunge set because mine has had it. I have literally used that thing to death. It's gotten to the point where it no longer wants to stick to the acrylic blocks, and it's gotten to the point where it is barely legible. I've used it so much, and they've been cleaned multiple times, but they're worn out. And it's my favorite set, so it gets used all the time. And I ordered in a big bunch. So I have a nice dry surface, and I'm going to keep my brayer out, and I'm unpacking a new palette today. This is a Jack Reichison Gray Matters palette. I love these. This is my favorite palette, but for some unknown reason, they've been very difficult to get the last couple of years. I ended up having to order from Amazon to get them, and they ended up being shipped from God knows where. I think England was the only way I could get them, but they are getting easier. Of course, right after that, I find out that you can get them at Hobby Lobby, and even Michael's has them from time to time. But one of the things that I love about the Gray Matters palette is, particularly for mixing color, is that with that gray, it allows you to mix color very accurately if you need to. So, and then reproduce color accurately. So that's one of the primary reasons we go with this light gray. But there's another little added bonus to a Gray Matters palette, and it's this. There's this wonderful little painter's guide to color on the back, and it's by Stephen Quiller. The gives you the value scale on this side. Thank you.
Tea.
I got a tea. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very nice of you.
I was making coffee. Might as well make you a tea.
Oh, well, thank you. So it comes with a nice little cover wheel. I like that it breaks it down and gives it such a simple description of the various colors, and then explains color complementary colors as well. I think that's fantastic that they use up that space to put a little extra information in. So I keep this thing because they're very handy. I give them to students, or I use them for presentations, or even for teaching. And it's such a great explanation that it's well worth it. So I hang on to those. So I got my new Gray Matters palette, and my son made me tea. Wonder what he wants. Must be something really expensive. So here's our surface. It's nice and dry. It's nice and rigid, and it's well sealed. So we've got great substrate to be working on. And these are the stamps that I'm going to use today. Some of them. This is that grunge set that I absolutely love. I love everything about this. One, it's the textures that you get in this crackle one. Of course, you know I like the cancellation stamp. And the other set that I've got is this one. This is another favorite. One, it's got all these fun little butterflies and bugs and whatnot and bees. I love that. But I love all of these cancellation stamps. So I'm going to use some of those. And then, of course, my vintage note. Absolutely love my vintage note stamp. I have used mine to death. It is just simply had the biscuit, so I decided to open up a new one for myself today. And then the other thing that I've been playing with right lately, and I'm going to say moderately obsessed with, are my Tim Holtz stamps. You can get them in 2 locations. You can get them on Amazon. I get mine on scrapbook.com. Quite often because it's a site that I really like using. But these are my Tim Holtz stamps, and I keep them in this little file folder, card keeper. I love these. These are just moths, various moths that you can tell. I got a little carried away. I love these. The other one that I just adore is it's a series of insects. If I can find it. This is another one that I really love. This one here. This is Specimen. I love these bugs. I use that cicada quite frequently for a number of projects. But I have a really gorgeous one with bugs on it, but I can't find it. Where did it go? I have a minor obsession with insects. Ah, here it is. This is another one I absolutely love with these pretty butterflies. I think these are really pretty. Of course, you know that I'm going to love this one with all that font and text on it. So I might use that. And let's see what else I have in here. I don't know where my bugs went. I have great bugs. Oh well. There it is. Maybe it is my bugs. So, I think that's what we'll work with. I do have some acrylic blocks. I'm going to grab a couple of those. I like them for the smaller stamps. Just makes them easier to control. So I've got a couple of acrylic blocks. These actually, Recollections at Michael's has a nice little set. I think they run around $20 for a little set. But the local dollar stores also have these, and they run about $5 or $6 each, which is a really great deal because some of them can get really expensive. So I do love these ones here from the dollar store, believe it or not. They're fantastic. Dollar Tree is a good one. Dollarama is a favorite because you can get all kinds of fun stuff there. And what else is in here? I'm loving this one from Tim Holtz with the bones. I love that one. And they have a grunged set as well from Tim Holtz, and I love those. So yes, I have a few stamps. I have a few. And I do love my Tim Holtz stamps. So I'm going to be playing with my grunge set, this little fun set from Stamp Pandas, and my vintage note. And then I think I'm going to be using these two just because I can. And I love them. I love the butterflies. So let me show you how to do this. We have a couple of options. You can use a stays-on stamp pad. I do like that. The stays-on ones are very, very nice. And they're relatively easy to find. At the height of the pandemic, they weren't because everybody was buying them up. But they're relatively easy to find now. So I've got my palette. We're going to start with a little bit of lamp black. Now, some of these butterfly stamps are a little more detailed, so I'm thinking that the paint might be a little bit problematic. So let's start with some stamping. So I'm going to use my stays-on stamp pad. I think for some of these larger ones, I'm going to switch and use this. I love this. I'm just loving these butterflies. So I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to show you how to do this with paint. So if you don't have the stamp pad and you don't have all the fun stuff, then let's do it this way. I've got a little bit of lamp black paint and this mini brayer. And I'm going to roll out the paint so that I have a nice coat on my brayer. Just like so. And you're going to roll the paint onto the stamp. Just take a little care. You don't want a gob of paint on there, but just roll it on like so. And then immediately take your stamp. I want mine right here. And then I'm going to take my little my acrylic block here.
Are you throwing stuff?
No, I've been a good girl.
What is this doing over here?
It blew off.
Yeah. Wing.
I did not throw it.
Okay.
So, and then I want a little bit of, I do love this. This one actually can go right on the block. I'm going to stick it on there. And I'm going to, again, I'm just going to roll a little bit of acrylic paint onto the stamp. And I'm going to put this down the bottom corner. I'm moderately obsessed with the butterflies. So that worked actually very, very well. So I can take it off the acrylic block. Now, to clean those stamps, I will take a little alcohol wipe and just wipe off the stamp, or you can use a little bit of brush cleaner. Either one will take the acrylic paint off of your stamp without doing any harm to the stamp itself. And then I want to get one of these because I love these. These are moths. And these ones, these are the two that I like the most. Like I said, I'm moderately excited about these. So using the stamp pad, you can use either method. I'm going to use the stamp pad for these fellas. I want to put a moth right there. And I also want to take one off the page. And then I'm going to switch to a different moth. Just because I can.
Somebody asked what type of gray matters palette you use.
This is a 9x12. And it's the Jack Reiches and Gray Matters.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's what they were trying to...
Yep. So I'm going to bring the other moth up here. I love, this is one of the reasons that I like these Tim Holtz stamps is the level of detail. They're just so beautifully detailed. And again, I'm going to come off the page a little bit. Okay, I'm happy.
Asphaltum would make a nice sepia tone.
It does make a beautiful sepia tone. Just in this particular case, I wanted dark because we're going to be doing so much on top of this. So I'm going to grab my grunge set. Love my grunge set. And this is, I'm giving myself a new one.
Can the stamps be cut and used separately?
The stamps. These ones here, are you're talking about the, sorry, I hit the camera. These ones are already cut so that you can use each section of the stamp individually. Although they come in a sheet, they are already punched, so.
That was that puppy whining.
This is what I like about this grunge set, is it comes with a stencil. It's very handy. So I'm going to use my grunge set. What am I going to use? Oh, I think I'm going to use this. I do love that little swirly bit. And I'm just going to rub my stamp pad on it, like so. And I want a little bit here, but I'm going to take the stamp just slightly off the edge. Like so.
And boom.
And boom. I like that. I like little bits like that. And I think I'm going to turn this upside down and I'm going to do it this way. I want a little bit in that. I like that little swirly bit. I just want to put a little bit of that swirly bit in there. And then, oh, where's my vintage note? I like all this fun stuff in the background. So I got a vintage note stamp. Ta-da! This is my favorite all time. I love this stamp. So I'm going to put just a little bit of text in there. I'm not using the whole stamp, you might notice. I just kind of like it indistinct.
How long can you wait before you clean the stamps?
Oh, you can wait, hours.
Decades.
Hey. Smart Alec. I wouldn't go so far as decades. With the acrylic paint. You're putting a ton of acrylic paint on there. So you don't have to panic and try to get it all done in one sitting, like immediately. But I would, because I used stamp pad on that. I'm not too worried about that one. But I want to show you how easily it is to clean the paint off of these. So I have a stamp here. And I'm going to grab a little bit of shop towel. Here we go. And I have a little bit of hand sanitizer. You do this with an alcohol wipe. I'm just going to gently spray a little bit on. I'll grab some paper towel.
Hopefully.
Can do it without knocking everything over. There we go. These actually clean up quite easily. Like I said, a little bit of hand sanitizer and a paper towel and wipe it off. And then a little soap and water doesn't go amiss either. So just to clean that up a little bit, and it's ready to go for the next time. Easy peasy.
Brenda Owen says, I love my vintage note stamp. It was a used one I bought from Deb.
Oh yeah, I love that.
At a painting conference, and she was kind enough to sell me hers when she was sold out. That sounds like Deb.
Yeah, that does sound like Deb. You know what? A stamp is a stamp. As long as it still functions, not a big deal. But sometimes you go to these shows and you're just, oh, you want something badly, and they do sell out fairly quickly. So a lot of the time. And there you go. It's as easy as that.
Kathy Rain's wondering where to get the card holder.
The card holder I got at Michael's.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I've been looking for a really great way to store stencils and stamps. And because the Tim Holtz stamps come on this kit, here, I know this is going to be taking up way too much room, but the Tim Holtz stamps come on these cards. And he has binders and whatnot for them, but I'm not a binder person. I prefer to be able to see my stuff and then know what I have. And so I got these. These are called card keepers. And they're fantastic. They have just like a filing cabinet. They have slots and whatnot. And they work beautifully for storing all of my stamps. I use the same one for storing all of my M Square stencils. And I also store all of my collage stencils the same way. And it just makes it so much easier to, one, you can see what you have, and two, they're nicely organized so that you can get at them when you need them.
I'm thinking they're asking this instead of the stamps. Mm-hmm. Can you use the Tim Holtz tissue wrap with the bag?
Absolutely. I'm all for that. I love Tim Holtz's tissue wrap. I have a lot of it.
I don't know if they were looking for a substitute or...
But you know what? There are a number of things. Tim Holtz used to have a craft paper for scrapbooking that was very much like this. It had butterflies and bugs and things like that on it. It was a beautiful paper, but you can't get it anymore. And so I loved that paper, so that I'm just replicating it and just creating my own version of it. But there is nothing to say that you couldn't use this too. And
Claudia Sepulveda is celebrating 11 months.
Awesome.
With the membership group.
Nice.
She says, I love being here.
Well, we love having you. Yeah, Claudia joined us just after the 12 Days of Christmas last year. So I dug out I got to do my cancellation stamps. I just realized big empty space right there. Can't have that. I love cancellation stamp. Don't ask me why. I couldn't explain it if my life depended on it. But I do absolutely love them. And this little set, I only have 8 of these in this one. I wish I had like a bazillion of them because I just love this set. This is why. One, it has brilliant cancellation stamps, but I'm in love with this. There's this funky one right here in that set. You can tell because it's there's 4 or 5 in there that are really dirty, and this is one of them. There's something about this. I don't know what it is. Can't explain it. So you can do as much or as little as you want. How much you do is entirely up to you. And that's the fun part about this. Just use your own creativity. There's no real rules, no hard and fast rules about what you can and cannot do. But yes, we will have these little sets. I love this. This is the other thing I love about this. Look, there's a bumblebee in this one.
Yeah, of course it's going on there.
There's a bumblebee right there. Empty space. Can't have that. Little bumblebee. I love it. So bumblebees, there's butterflies, there's little birds, there's even a dragonfly. And then there's this one, the bigger one in that set right here is the cancellation stamp with that ribbon line through it. So this one is one of my faves right now because you can do so much fun stuff with it. Now that grunge set, the grunge set is, I think, between my vintage note and my grunge set, I use them to death. I love this set. It has so much in it, but it also comes with a free stencil. So there's a stencil in that pack too, which is really nice. A little added bonus. And it's a nice little, brocade style. So it's a nice one. So I think I'm happy with all the stamping I've got on there. I am going to grab a stencil, but we're going to do that towards the end. And you know it's going to be a cancellation stamp. So, because I just like them. So I'm going to hit this with the hairdryer just to make sure everything is dry. Not my hairdryer, my little heat it tool here. Just to make sure everything is dry. I like that there's, butterflies. I like the butterflies in there. It'll all tie in the end. Promise. So we have to make all of this work together. So we need to age the edges of this a little bit. I'm going to grab a nice big angled shader and some asphaltum. I love my asphaltum. And I'm using just a little bit of water for this. We're going to pick up a generous amount of paint and we're going to blend it out to float. Just like this. And darkest value to the outside. So we want the darkest value out here. And we're just going to put a rather sloppy float all around the edges. Neatness does not count for this at all. I'm going to pick up a little more water.
There's the dog being the brat.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
She's misbehaving?
Not misbehaving. She's just being the brat.
Okay.
She wants the couch.
Ah, Dominic's on the couch.
Yeah. So Dominic moved.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah.
No wonder she's a brat. She gets her own way. All the time. So I've got a nice little float, not too dark, all the way around the outside edge. And I'm going to dry it again.
Oh, there's Faye Reed.
Hi, Faye.
Just popping in to say hi and get in on the running for the prizes. Definitely watch the replay. This looks like so much fun.
So once you've got that dry, we're going to do it again. But I pay particular attention to the corners. This part. Because I want the corners to be a little bit darker. Just a little. This does work up fairly quick. Once you've got this stamped and ready to go, this works up really quick. So I'm just going to deepen a couple of little spots, not the whole edge, but just a couple of little spots.
Is that asphaltum?
Yeah, of course it is.
Yes. The color she's using for the float is asphaltum.
So I'm going to dry this real quick. And as I said, it doesn't need to be perfect. It's going to look irregular. We want it to. So now we're going to switch to another color. We're going to use some soft black. Because I want to really age some of these edges and corners a little bit. So a little bit of soft black. Here we go. And I'm going to do the same thing with the soft black that I did with the asphaltum. I'm going to blend it out. Back and forth, back and forth. Walk it in so that you've got a nice change in value. And we're going to deepen those corners. And we're going to tuck a little float. See how the corners instantly get nice and dark. And then, see, I pull a little bit out and then blend it. It gives us a little indentation. And just float that right over the corners so that we get this nice dark edge all the way around. Turn it around. There we go.
What was the name of the company you mentioned? A craft something where you got your stamps?
Oh, scrapbook.com.
Ah.
I love scrapbook.com. So I'm going to dry this real quick. This kind of gives the paper as if it's been, a little burned at the edges, I think. That's the word I'm looking for. Now, I've built up all these darker values at the outside edge, but it kind of looks like I just put a dark line around it. So I'm going to show you how to get all of this to play nicely together. So I'm going to take some water and I'm going to thin out my asphaltum. I want to make a nice soupy mess. Nice and thin. Look at this. And you're going to brush a coat of that glaze, basically, over everything. It's heavily thinned. And you're going to go over everything. So we're toning the paper to match the border. Not the value, just the tone. So there we go. I'm going to make sure I don't have any vertical stripes in there. Just cross hatch it a little bit. There we go. So now we are ready to transfer line drawings onto our surface. Now at this point, you are ready to trace and transfer, but I'm going to show you a little trick. Because this is paper, and we've just put paint over top of it, again, I'm going to seal this. Look at that, nice background. I'm going to put a coat of matte medium over top of this. Because now everything is going to get sealed in nice and tight. So that if I make a mistake after this point, when I go to fix it, I don't end up damaging all of the work that I've done to this background. So I'm just going to seal it in with a little bit of matte medium. And believe me, it's not going to hurt anything. So nice even coat. Just a light coat. You don't need a ton of it on there. Just to make sure everything is nice and even. There we go. And then I will dry this, and then it's ready for tracing and transferring. Got a little schmeggly there. And that matte medium dries quickly. So we went from craft paper, craft and hobby paper, to this nice decoupaged and elegant looking background. You can stamp on this. You can do this with stencils. You can do this with any stamps. Absolutely any stamps. I like my grunge set. And we have all of the Stampenda stamps are on sale on the website, and the Autumn 22 coupon code is still working. So feel free. Today's the last day for that coupon code, by the way. It expires at midnight tonight. And of course, if you're a member of the membership group, then you have a new coupon code for this month. So you can find that. It should have been in your email yesterday. So there we go. We have a gorgeous background. Now, this is somewhat problematic. I generally will give it a light sanding and then paint it the same color. So I take the asphaltum and just paint the outside edge, and it gives you a really nice finished look when you're done. So this is ready for tracing and transferring, but through the magic of television, ta-da! I have mine already done and base coated. Aren't I clever? Just managed my time well yesterday. Ta-da! Doesn't happen all the time, but I managed to do it yesterday.
Well, what kind of paper was that?
This is just craft paper, like the type of stuff you buy at the post office.
Oh, I was gonna say butcher's paper, but
no, butcher's paper has a wax on it. Yeah. Nope, this is just brown paper. The stuff, you can use old shopping bags, like the paper shopping bags. You can buy it in a roll at the post office and use that. It is just craft paper. And you can even get cardstock, craft cardstock that will work as well. It's just a little thicker, that's all. But it all amounts to the same thing. So this piece is already base coated and ready to go. I have my base colors for this one are really simple. The blossom has been base coated with warm white. I have one coat on there. And then the stems and leaves of the flower are base coated with antique green. I wanted to get them base coated so that we're not using up so much time just base coating. Most of you know how to base coat. You don't need my help for that. So I'm just looking up my instructions here so that I get the colors right, because I'm notorious for forgetting colors. So we're going to start with the flower on this. It's a really straightforward. We're going to start with these leaves down here. I'm going to grab a little bit of plantation pine, which is my go-to green for leaves and such, especially for shading. And see, it was the week for giving myself new things. I gave myself a new angled shader today too, because I needed one. Most of my angles were getting a little ragged looking. So we're going to start with the shading on this, and we're going to use a little bit of plantation pine for the shading. I like doing the center vein of this. If you've watched me doing leaves, you'll know that I use the plantation pine to shade, and I shade at the base of the leaf, like so. So I'm going to put a nice wide float of plantation pine just at the base of the leaf. This one is in behind the blossom, so I'm going to put a little shadow here and pull it out. And then there's a piece back here underneath. We're going to have to shade under there too. I have a little too much water in my brush, I think. Da-da-da. Oops. Remember what I said about when you goof, you could fix it? I just overshot the runway, and if this hadn't been sealed, it would have taken that color quite aggressively. Now this little bit here under the flower, it gets a little bit of shading as well, just to separate some of these little petals. And then I'm going to put a little shadow down the bottom here and down the side of the stem. So most of my shading is going on the left. There we go. Now each of those leaves gets a shadow down the center vein, and we want a little bit of curve, so we're going to pull that right out to the point on that leaf. And I think I need to dry that so I don't pull color off. I need to fix something. This is a little stripy looking. I need to make that shadow a little more even. There we go. So I'm going to create a nice little shadow down the center vein of this flower leaf. Good grief. I'm starting early today. And then this one is going to have a bit more pronounced curve. So I'm going to give that a chance to dry. Now, I used to use a technique for doing more realistic leaves. I wanted to show you something really fun. I'm going to use a little bit of sprout for this. It just creates a little bit of texture on the leaves. I'm going to use a little bit of sprout, just a small amount, and I'm going to blend it as if to float. And then I'm going to come to the tip of this leaf out here. And I'm just going to tap and pull on the edge of the leaf. Or at the edge of the leaf, I should say. It's just a little tap and pull, and it creates a little serrated appearance. It doesn't want to work for me today. There we go. So it just creates a little serrated appearance at the edge of the leaf.
Oh, I got a good question from Jan here.
Okay.
If I print something with my inkjet printer, do I need to spray the paper with any type of fixative for the ink, or is it good to decoupage and paint on as is?
Ideally, you should give it like 3 or 4 light coats of a matte spray or a setting spray. Primarily because the minute the moisture from the decoupage medium or the matte medium hits that ink, it's going to run. So you're going to have to hit it with a light matte spray first. Otherwise, you're going to be very disappointed. You can decoupage with it, but you do have to make sure that it's sealed. And a spray is the best way to go so that you're not putting any pressure on that ink. So to do that center vein, I put a light float right down the center vein, and then I come back in and I chisel blend over top of it. Like so. And what that does is it kind of creates a little bit of that serrated appearance of the leaf. It just gives it a little texture. Not liking that brush. I'm going to switch over to a 3/8. So I'm going to load just like I would if I was going to float, and I'm going to come to the edge of my leaf, and it's a tap and pull, and I'm straight up on the chisel edge. And I pull the color back towards that center vein, like so.
This video is going to be available on YouTube indefinitely. So Facebook, I don't know how long they keep things up on pages.
Have no idea.
But yeah.
It is on the YouTube channel, so you can watch it there.
Yeah. Until YouTube tells us that we have to take videos down.
Yep.
Just to save space. But I doubt it. I don't have Sprout. What else can I use?
Margarita will work. Olive green will work. Matcha green will work. You just need a lighter value green. Doesn't have to be exactly the one I'm using. So again, I take that lighter value when I'm coming down the top part of this. I'm going to put a float like so. Neatness doesn't really count for this. And then I'm going to stand my brush up on the chisel edge. And pull the... All it does is just creates a little bit of texture on these leaves. Like so.
I think I can get away with zooming in a bit. As long as she doesn't move it too much.
I'm trying not to. I'm just trying to turn it around, that's all.
There we go.
So you might notice that as I'm doing this chisel blend, when I'm tapping and pulling, is watch where the heel of the brush is. It's always pointing back towards the center vein of the leaf. So even though the brush is turning, the heel is always pointing to the same direction. So just the point is moving. So if I start at this edge and I tap and pull, it's rotating to follow the edge of the leaf, but the heel of the brush is always pointing back towards the center vein. I need some Joe Sonia. So I was talking about my Joe Sonia medium the other day, and today my shout out of the week was for Erika Joanne. She stocks the Joe Sonia Fast Dry Glaze. She carries all of the Joe Sonia stuff, a whole bunch of it. And she's a super nice lady. Just love Erika Joanne. And her lives are fantastic if you get a chance to watch them. Her lives are fantastic. There we go. I love the texture that just standing that brush up on its chisel edge creates. And then I'm going to take that same color and I'm going to do the same thing to these little bits here. Just a little chisel blend. Just to make these ones stand out a little. And then it needs a highlight on that opposite side, right here. So I'm going to float up the back side of this right here. Now I'm just using the whole chisel edge of the brush here on its chisel edge to pull a little color up this side. There we go. I'm going to rinse my brush out, and I'm going to come back to my plantation pine because it's time to clean up a couple of things. Now, in that leaf, I want to deepen that shadow down in here. This little float's going to make a world of difference to how these leaves look. Little.
I'm just checking up on my guys at the art gallery.
Oh, okay.
Making sure that everybody's there. And no.
You're missing somebody?
Huh?
They're missing somebody?
Yeah, I'm not supposed to be there.
No, well, I know you're not supposed to be there.
I could be there, but then they have to pay me.
Yeah.
And they don't want to do that on a weekend. Especially after I saw how many overtime hours I already got.
Yeah.
They don't want to pay me anymore.
Now, one of the fun things about doing leaves, I know it usually scares people, but something that I like doing is bringing some of the color that's going to be in this flower down into these leaves. Now, I'm using a color called persimmon for that flower, if I can find it.
Persimmon?
Persimmon.
Persimmon.
Yeah, it's a nice color.
Is it like a
If I
red?
can find it.
A pink?
Persimmon, there it is. No, it's an orange.
Oh.
It's a nice autumnal color. It's definitely not a color you see in morning glories too often. Then again. Oops. So persimmon is a really lovely color. A really lovely
I
color.
wish I had a Renee at my house. I make one tech mess after another.
So we're going to start by adding color to these flowers. I do love. Now I want to keep a little bit of space at the edge of these flowers. I want to keep that white. So I'm floating up to the edge, but I'm only leaving just the tiniest sliver of white at the edge. Now I'm floating this on, but we're going to be doing a little extra. We're going to take that same brush and I'm going to come to the edge of that and we're going to tap and pull. So I've used the float to establish that line, but then we're going to pull the color using that tap and pull, just standing on the chisel edge. And just continuously reload and pull down. So essentially you're going to be working this color down the throat. Notice how the brush is turning. So this is creating a little bit of texture as well. And you see where the lines are leading down into the throat of the flower. And I'm going to do the same thing for this petal. Nice float. We're leaving just that little thin border of white.
Using a 1/2 inch angle?
I'm using, this one is a 3/8.
3/8 angle.
3/8, 5/8, 3/8.
Which is that?
I couldn't remember.
One of them.
And then you're going to do the same thing, that tap and pull to gradually bring that color down the throat of the flower, always following the shape of the flower.
The name of the brush is a Dynasty Faux Squirrel, and it's it's made by Dynasty.
Yep.
So
It's a
there you go. And it's a
3/8.
3/8.
Yep.
Okay, I thought we were 5/8.
No.
It's not 5/8.
No, it's not 5/8. It's 3/8.
Uh,
5/8 would be much bigger.
Okay.
5/8 is bigger than a 1/2.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is smaller than a 1/2.
Okay.
Just saying.
I can't tell from here.
So essentially we want the darkest value towards the outer edge, and then we gradually let it fade out going down. So I'm going to again float, leaving that skinny little line of white. And if you muck that up, there's an easy way to fix that. So if you happen to go right to the edge, don't worry too much. It's fixable. The nice part about this is if your floats aren't really as great as you'd like them to be, it doesn't really matter for this because we're essentially pulling color down the throat into this flower.
Oh, Deb's here.
Hi, Deb.
She says, "Good morning, and I'm ready to people."
She's ready to people. Wow.
It's I don't blame you. I don't want to people either, but
It's a necessary evil.
yeah. Oh, jeez.
What?
Sandy's here.
Hi, Sandy. Thought she was taking a pamper me day.
Yeah, I guess this is considered pampering herself.
Okay. No, she was supposed to go for paws and claws, so.
Oh.
So I like this because it's very forgiving. And it's all about just getting the color down there.
I'm half old. I'm not old. I'm half old. I'm not young either.
I don't know.
Comparatively speaking, yes, I am young.
Youth is subjective.
Youth is subjective. I say I'm half young.
And it changes from
Half
day
old.
to day.
Yeah.
Some days I feel like I'm 25.
What is it? I'm one good fart from throwing my back out.
Some days.
Some days. You know, you stretch the wrong way or sleep the wrong way.
Yep.
It could end your day.
It's just wrong.
Yeah. You should not be like that. You know, 20 years old, you could sleep on concrete and no problem.
Yeah. Not so much when you're 50 and over.
I would say 30s and over. As soon as you hit 30, that's when it's like
Yeah, stuff starts
to fall apart.
Well, depending on
I've
what
had
you...
parts replaced already,
that's true.
and I shouldn't.
I still have all my original parts.
That's surprising with some of the things you've done in the past.
Yeah. I'm very lucky to have all my original parts.
Well, I have all my...
no.
No, I can't.
No, you don't.
The main ones, yes.
All of the more important stuff, yes.
All the important stuff, yes. You know, the exterior is good.
Yeah.
The exterior and the engine are fine.
Yeah.
It's just some of the joints are hooped.
Yeah.
Jimmy Carter is 98 today.
Wow.
Jeez.
Hard to imagine he was just 2 years older than the Queen.
Wow. And he was a president.
Yes. He is the oldest living.
He is
US
the oldest living U.S. president, former U.S. president?
Yep.
Wow.
He's 98.
You
You'd have to go a bit.
can only imagine what kind of stuff he's got kept in the closet.
Well, he doesn't have a Mar-a-Lago.
Some of my parts are missing. Oh my. Wait
Well,
until you hit 75, the wheels start falling off the bus? Oh, the wheels fell off my bus a long time ago. I think that I lost that at what? 10?
the wheels to your bus? No, they were still going round and round at that point.
Who would be older, Renee? Who?
Yeah, like who? When we're talking about Jimmy Carter,
Yeah.
if he's considered the oldest living president, how old would you have to be to outlive him? 99.
Yeah.
There's not too many people. He's in that 1 percentile.
Yeah.
He's crazy. So I've got.
They have replacement parts.
They do.
Yes. I have a replacement part.
Yep.
It's not OEM.
No, it is not. Not from the original manufacturer. So I'm going to float that same color up underneath the petals, just like so. This is just such a fun one to paint, and it's very forgiving.
I honestly thought, you know, Bush Sr. would have been older.
No.
But...
Nope.
And for the longest time, I thought Nixon was still alive.
No.
And I was... Yeah. He did.
Yeah, he's been dead for a while. So I'm doing pretty much the same thing. I'm just walking that color down a little bit so that I get, you know, a lighter value at the base and a little darker up top. So fun.
I was alive when Nixon was
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Hell, I was alive when he was president.
No, you were not.
pretty sure. Or
No.
at least vice president, wasn't he?
No. No, no, no.
Oh, okay, no.
No.
No. Never mind. Way off on the
Silly
mark on
bunny.
that one.
Yeah. So I'm going to, I like putting a little bit of yellow in the throat of this because I think it just adds a nice little glow in there. I'm going to use a little bit of that sunset gold. I'm in love with this yellow. So I'm just going to pull a little bit into the throat of the flower. And then I'm going to walk it back up the petal so it overlaps that persimmon a little bit.
Oh.
Love this color.
I didn't realize Bush Sr. was dead.
Yeah.
He was 94 when he passed.
Uh-huh.
Oh. Well.
Well, now you know.
Tells me how closely I follow that stuff. Because I thought Nixon was... Yeah, I was way off on when I thought Nixon was serving.
Yeah. So I took a little of that yellow and I just floated it at the bottom. I just wanted to perk up some of this persimmon a little bit, and that orange seems, or that yellow seems to have done that for me. So I'm going to come back up to the top here. I want to strengthen this color a little right at the edge. Just a little. So I'm just floating a little of that persimmon just at the edge. Just to strengthen the color. It was a little wanting. Wow, my tummy is talking.
We're not going to get into that conversation.
No. So I like that bolder orange at the edges, and that with that yellow in the center, it gives it a nice little glow.
Ooh. Oh yeah, your discount code for Decorative.com
Nice.
is TM2022
Yep.
H2. There you go.
Yeah, so if you're ordering off of Decorative.com, use that code.
It's a one-time discount code,
Yep.
and it's a discount to your entire order. Thank you, Sandy. Sandy is being awesome.
Sandy's always awesome. So there we go. I just wanted to strengthen that. Look at the difference that makes when you strengthen that orange out at the edges. It just gives it a nice pop. And I'm going to do the same thing underneath those petals right up in here. One more time, just strengthen that orange a little. Such a pretty orange, but I needed a pop. Look at that. Love it. So I'm going to start shading this with a little bit of asphaltum. And then I want to bring a little of that orange down to those leaves. It's just pulling in a little reflected color. So I'm just loading up my angle a little bit. I want to pull a little bit of that orange onto these leaves. Just a little. A little float in a couple of places. Don't overdo. It's amazing what that little bit of punch, that little bit of color will do. But it just brings the whole thing together when you have that little bit of orange. Now, if the flower was red, I would do it with a little bit of red. So there we go. So now that this is dry, or nearly dry, we're going to come back to the asphaltum and we're going to start deepening some shadows. Now, the color is not going to be full strength. We're going to use it in controlled bits. And one of the first places we're going to use it is right in here. So I'm going to put a float of asphaltum right in the throat of our flower. It's just going to give that a little bit of depth and make it appear a little deeper. So we've got that nice little depth in there. And we're going to come down underneath these petals and put that nice little float underneath there. And that's going to lift those petals off of the surface really nicely.
Is there any crackle medium being used in this?
Yes.
Okay, so that's later?
That's right at the end.
Right at the end. All right. I for some reason, I had this thing in the back of my head saying, they're covering crackle medium. I went,
Yes, we are.
not too sure.
We're going to be using one-step crackle, which
One
is a
step.
really nice one. It's just a pour on and let it dry. But there is a couple of tricks to making it work really well for you.
Linus Franco actually has a question. Which yellow can you use if you don't have CAD yellow?
You can use, I just used the Sunset Gold. Any nice,
There you
bright, transparent yellow will work just fine. I'm really obsessed with that sunset. I get it mixed up. I keep calling it golden sunset, but it's actually sunset gold. But you want a nice, bright, transparent yellow because you want heat. You want that vibrancy. Look at that heat. I love how that little punch of yellow just...
Ooh, we got some other suggestions for yellow too.
Yeah.
Primary yellow.
Primary yellow will work. It's a little more opaque
Saffron.
though. Saffron's a great choice. Yep.
Sunset gold would work too, or saffron yellow. Yeah.
Yep. So there, we've got a nice little shadow under there. Got a nice little bit of depth in there. Now we're going to... Morning Glories don't really have these, but I like the texture they create. I'm going to grab my liner. And I'm going to grab a little of that sprout green, and I'm going to pick up a little plantation pine. I need a mid-value green for this. And I'm going to put little stamens in the center. If you look at the line drawing, now Morning Glories don't technically have these, but I like them. I just think they make a nice texture in here. So we're going to give this just a few of these little strands, like so. I don't want them super dark, so it's just a couple of little lines in here. Okay. So I've got a few little strands in there. I just wanted 5. I think 5 is plenty. And then I'm going to take my little liner and I'm going to just press a little dab like so. Just to create those little stamens, I guess they are. So there, we have those in. I guess you'd see these more on a tiger lily than a morning glory, but then I'm just going to use a little bit of that yellow just to add a little texture to them. A little highlight, nothing major, just a few little tiny dots, like so. Now, remember what I said about the white at the edges? We're going to play with that a little bit with the liner brush. I find that this flower looks just so much prettier when it's got some nice little lacy bits on it. So I use my extra long detail liner. Move that out of the way. And I've got a few little spots here that aren't, as perfect as I would like them, not as clean as I would like them. So I'm going to use my liner brush to clean them up and just stroke in some nice bright little lines. One, it cleans up any little bobbles and wobbles and areas that are perhaps not as neat and tidy as you would like, or as clean as you would like. And then you can just use your liner, put in those nice flips and sharp points. Oof. Heavy-handed today. And it also gives these flowers a nice little bright edge and a crisp edge. Like so. And this is where you get to fix anything that perhaps you're not thrilled with, like I'm not thrilled with the edge on this particular flower. So I'm just going to clean it up a little. And having that little thin border of white just gives you the ability to do that. Like these little strips of white in the flower, I wanted them to be clean. So, oops. This just makes it a little more forgiving, so that you have the ability to come back and fix little things that perhaps you're not thrilled with. And then just get that one little point here that I'm not tickled with, so I'm going to clean that up. And I like the ability to perhaps elongate them a little bit so that, you know, maybe they look a little more fluid and a little sharper. And if you feel that they're too narrow, you can always do something for them to smarten them up. And there we go. Now I've got a little spot there that is not quite as opaque as perhaps it should be. So I'm going to just pull a little bit of white from the top down, just to clean it up a little bit. There we go. So our flower is looking lovely. Although, having done all of that, these leaves are a little wanting now. So I'm going to just pick up a little of that brilliant green that we used, that sprout. And I just want to brighten these up a little bit. I'm just going to put a weak float along there just to brighten them a little. It was just a little wanting. That's better. All is well?
All is well.
Okay. There we go. So I think I'm happy with my flower.
What did I miss?
So I'm going to set this aside to dry because we have a little piece left to do. And we're going to add a dimensional embellishment with this. This is just a little wooden butterfly. I have two prepped. Couldn't decide which one I liked more. So I prepped two. So I've got my little butterfly here in black. And this part is super simple. We're going to start with a little bit of white. And we're going to chisel blend this, just like we did with the flowers and whatnot. So I'm going to start with a little bit of white on the edge of my wing. Bunny leaves. Jeez. So a little float of that white, just like so. And then I'm going to chisel blend that white and pull it back until I get a wedge shape like that. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other wing. Good grief.
You wanted to say leaf.
I very nearly did.
Wing.
So I'm coming just shy of the edge of the wing. Bunny leaves.
Bunny leaves.
Some days, tell ya.
Butter leaves.
Bunny leaves.
Butter leaves.
Butter leaves? Okay.
Because leaves don't fly.
Yeah, I know. Butter leaves. So you can see I've just pulled that white in. I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom winglet. So it's just a float coming in from the edge.
Winglet.
Winglet.
Leaflet.
Leaflet. Wing nut.
Yeah.
So again, I'm just doing that tap and pull motion and aiming back towards where the body would join, like so. I'm managing to keep it right in the shot too. It's a minor miracle. Oop. A little bit of glaze on my brush. There we go. So I've got that float out there, and then I just lay the brush on its chisel edge and tap and pull, keeping the brightest value towards the edge of the wing. I'm having the worst time with that. It happens.
You had to stop. Look at me.
Stop. Look at him. Go.
Wing.
Wing. Right. It's wing.
Wing.
So I'm going to dry that. And we're going to do it all again, this time with a little bit of that orange. Same orange that we used for our flower. Again, so I'm just loading as if to float. And I'm going to come out on top of that orange. Lay the orange right over the white. Nice little float. I got way too much.
Where'd you get those butterflies?
I have them on my website, but you can use any wooden butterfly. It doesn't have to be specifically these.
Doesn't Sheila Landry cut them?
No.
No?
Although she probably does have some.
She probably does. Wouldn't be surprised.
So I put a float of that brilliant orange. I love that persimmon. Such a pretty orange. So I floated it over the white, and I'm going to dry it.
Joyce is wondering what you're drinking off camera.
Tea. I'm thinking maybe I should be drinking something else. Couldn't hurt. Not today.
Hey, Jessica, what did you put in your mom's tea? I didn't put anything.
Milk and one sugar.
Yep.
So I'm just going to go back in with some of that persimmon. And remember what we did with the flower, where we just work it back, doing the same thing to the butterfly.
Oh, Sandy. She just threw up the link.
Cool.
I did not spike her tea.
No, he wouldn't dare.
Don't ruin a good tea that way.
One day this week, my thought for the day was never ask a woman who is drinking wine straight out of the bottle and eating ice cream out of the carton how she's doing.
Fine.
Yeah. Because that will be the answer. having tortellini tonight.
Tortellini.
Yeah.
Nom, nom, nom. I like tortellini.
Yeah, in a carbonara sauce. So, almost finished with these wings.
Boop.
Tap, 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 tap. Now, I'm bringing them back to aiming them towards the body. I kind of like the texture that this creates, but I really like that it sort of draws all of that lightness.
There we go.
There we go. Super easy way to do it. I'm just using the chisel edge to create that texture. Like so. Thumb fun, baby. Just a couple of coats. I find that the more often you do it, the brighter it gets at the edge, and then the more texture it creates as you do it. But I think I'm done.
Renee better get that wheel. I've got the wheel packed full of names.
He's ready when I am. So I'm going to dry that. We're going to use a little bit of warm white to highlight the body. And this is super easy. So I'm going to just float a little highlight on the head, like so. And then a little highlight down the center, like that. So we have a body.
Tina is wondering, how long do you wait for the project to cure before spraying a sealant?
Well, because I use a heat gun, things dry a little bit quicker. Ideally 24 hours. Ideally. So now that I've got my highlight in place, I've got all of that done. I'm going to take a little bit of lamp black and we're going to just give a little shadow. I can paint all over me.
Ooh. What do you mean nasty, Jessica? Wild turkey is delicious.
So I don't think she's talking about the bird.
No, wild turkey.
The liquor?
No, wild turkey.
Okay, really. She's talking about the bird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's just grinding the husband's nasty wild turkey for him. Now he can have a nasty wild turkey burger.
Now, I will agree with her there. Grinding wild meat.
Yeah.
Ugh. It stinks.
Yeah, it does.
It's very gamey. I have to
But
agree
it's
with her there.
tasty.
It is tasty, but it's been there, done that.
It's like partridge.
So we're going to add a couple of little details to our butterfly. This is super easy. I'm just going to take a little bit of white. I do this quite often. I just use 3 little dots. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, if you wanted to and you wanted this to look very realistic, you could absolutely take the time to make it realistic.
They're really liking the zombie.
Are they?
Yeah.
Is he getting lots of love?
He's getting lots of love today.
Okay. And then I want a brighter highlight. A little one on the head and a little stroke on the body.
You should see what happens when you follow the Facebook page.
Yeah. So there is your little butterfly. And you can pick and choose where he goes. But I wanted to show you a little trick. In the scrapbooking world, they have these wonderful little pads. They're adhesive on both sides. Just gives whatever they're adhering a little bit of elevation. And you can use that. It'll just add to the dimension by having this little guy floating, slightly above the surface, which I think is a fun way to do it. But we're not going to adhere him just yet because we're going to put some crackle medium on this. That's the one thing I did not do was get my crackle medium ready. So I have to find it. Okay, might be up here. Oh, there it is. One step, crackle.
And for those on TikTok, make sure you go follow her.
Yeah.
She needs 1,000 followers on TikTok
In order to go live.
in order to go live on TikTok.
So this is One Step Crackle. This is my favorite crackle medium that Decorative makes. I like the weathered wood. It's very pretty. But this One Step Crackle is my favorite, but it's also one of those ones where everybody is just terrified to use it. Because they say, well, I've tried to use crackle, but it never turns out right. It never works for me. I like One Step Crackle because it always works for me. So I just need to get this bloody plastic thing off the bottle. Here we go. So One Step Crackle. This is both terrifying and rewarding at the same time. So I need a nice big soft brush. I'm going to grab this one. Make sure it's dry. And you're going to put a big gob
Oh dear.
in the middle of it.
You were very generous with that.
Yep, I was.
Yes, and make sure you go follow Sandy McTeer on TikTok as well.
Yeah. So you're going to take that puddle and you're going to work from the middle out with a nice soft brush. Just like that. Because wherever it's thickest is where you're going to get the best crackle. Now you are aiming for a nice even coat, but I kind of want to have it where you can see it. So you're working from the center out and then brushing it out evenly, but always working from the center out. Like so. I love this stuff. Love how it looks. The other thing I love is that it will rest before it starts to dry. And it does start to dry fairly quickly, but it will rest, which means that it's going to level a little bit. But you want a nice uniform coat over the whole surface.
Tina says, I'm installing TikTok now. Yeah, when she has 1,000 followers on TikTok, she'll be able to go live on TikTok.
Yeah. So, as terrifying as it may seem, that big puddle that we put in the middle of it, it's always scary when you first do that, but it's going to give us a really nice crackle. Now, this is going to look like old porcelain when it's completely dry. You can force it, but it's better not to. I find you have better control over it if you just let it dry. So you're going to get a more uniform crackle, a nice consistent size if you leave it alone. Just leave it alone and let it do its thing. Now, you can do the same thing to your butterfly, but I wanted to show you another thing that you can do with your butterflies that makes me happy. I gotta find it.
Norma Luther.
Yeah.
When you use the brush for crackle, would you now only keep that brush for crackle work only?
No. I use it only for varnishes.
Ah.
Yeah. Only for varnishes.
So it cleans up well.
It cleans up very well.
Ah, okay.
So there's all kinds of nifty products out there for special effects. And this is one of my favorites is this one. It's Enchanted Shimmer. This one has a nice iridescent quality and it has a little bit of glitter in it. So it just gives you a really pretty effect. Because my butterfly is orange, this one is purple. I don't have an orange, but I wanted to show you what this stuff looks like because I have another black butterfly and you need black to make iridescence show up, or a dark color. I shouldn't say you need black. You need a dark color. So this is Enchanted Shimmer. And I'm going to grab another brush. So you can get your brush wet for this. So Enchanted Shimmer has a lovely iridescent quality. and it has a little bit of glitter in it, a very fine glitter. So I'm brushing it over the black. The color that I'm using for this is violet.
Zoom in on the butterfly.
On the flutterby. Now this is violet. I love these. When these dry, you get this little bit of shimmer. It's soft. It's not an in-your-face glitter. I'm going to dry this real quick. But you'll notice that the butterfly goes black, back to almost being black. Oh, it's so pretty. Love that. So let it dry completely. So fun. But this is what's special about these, is when you move it. So it has this wonderful shimmer and then that gorgeous purple tone. I'm just trying to get it so that you can see the purple, but this one is that enchanted shimmer in violet. It's very, very pretty. And then there's this product, which I think is highly underrated. I'm obsessed with this one. This is the blue version. This is Dura Clear Iridescent Varnish. Fantastisch, this one. It's just awesome. I'm going to give it a shake because it's been sitting for a little bit. And this one is a clear varnish, but it has an iridescent added to it. You're going to love this. These ones, fantastic for things like Christmas ornaments because they're just so pretty. So again, this one brushes on. It's a varnish. Brush it on. Nice and smooth. And it instantly gives you that blue. Like instantly. But then when it dries, this dries just like a beautiful finish. It's gorgeous. And then it has that iridescent quality over top of it. So an iridescent red or an iridescent gold over top of our butterfly would be so pretty. So, so pretty. But look at this. Look at that sheen. It's so elegant. Really pretty for things like butterflies. Or bugs or beetles, but it's also great for decorating for Christmas and the holidays. They're absolutely fantastic. So that Duraclear varnish, it's the same great protection that you will get, but this one has an iridescent pigment added to it. Really a fun product to work with. And I love that you can do these fun things like change it up and make it look like anything sparkly or glittery. I love it. Now, I have gold interference. I'm going to use the little bit of gold interference on my flutterby. This is in the fluid acrylic line. This is gold interference. And I'm going to use it much like I would float with it. Just because I want a little bit of glitter. And I'm just going to float a little of that onto the wings. Wait a minute, there's something wrong here.
Is that what's in the bottle, yeah?
Yeah. I don't know. There's something, I think it might have been frozen. That's what it looks like. Because I'm not getting what I should. Nope. My iridescent was frozen.
Oh, was that part of the shipment that came?
Yeah. It looks like it was frozen. Because it should behave just like this.
But gold.
But gold. And I got nothing. So I think all the pigment is stuck because it's not.
Oh no.
Yeah. Well, that's a bummer. I was kind of hoping for this, like, ta-da!
There's a little bit of gold.
A little bit. It's got the pigment there, but the
shape.
yeah. Hopefully. There's a little bit of pizzazz there, but not a lot. You can see it. It should just come popping off of there, but it's just not cutting it. How are we doing here? This is starting to dry. You can see that the fogginess is leaving. And very soon it's going to start cracking.
You can already see it cracking.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a little bit in the corners.
Yeah. I love how this looks. So while we're waiting for this, why don't you spin the wheel?
Wheels.
Yeah. Spin some wheels. I'm going to speed this up a little bit, but I'm holding the gun at a good distance so that it's not speeding it up too much.
There it is.
I forgot to use my stencil before we put this on.
Oh, no.
Oh, well. It doesn't have to be done.
It's funny that you mentioned printers.
Why? Is that what? Oh, yes. Look at that.
We're going to shuffle it a few times.
My color laser in the studio is on its last legs. And I've been shopping for a replacement. But I have to tell you, not an easy thing to find right now. Color printers.
Boom. And who's our first winner?
I don't know.
Let's find out. Ding, 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 ding. J.L. Brewer.
Yay, JL!
Miss Brewer.
I had fun. I made a bunch of those art stuff bags last week. And went through all of the stuff, the giveaway stuff, and just filled them up. Because we have a lot of stuff to give away.
Miss Brewer. It's been a while since you've won anything.
Yeah, it has been a while since she's won anything. I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of people on there that haven't won anything in a while, so. Or
nothing
at all.
Or at all. There's 179 names on there today.
Nice.
All right.
And for those of you that have just joined us, in order to get in on all of those prizes and those giveaways, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Just hit the like button and share it. We appreciate that. And, of course, if you're watching, we'd love it if you hit the subscribe button. And that way, if you turn on your bell notifications, Linda Deming is our winner. Right on. So turn on your bell notifications, and then that way you'll be notified whenever we go live. But you can find us here every Saturday, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. We are streaming to Facebook as well as YouTube, so...
One more?
Yep, one more.
One more.
I'm really hoping I start to see some crackle here, but...
Last one. And who do we got? Mary E. Jones.
Nice. So, ladies, you will have a parcel arrive in the next 7 to 14 days with a little set of Dynasty Black Gold. I think there's 2 nice little black gold brushes in there, and there's some pens and some other art stuff, as well as one of the art stuff bags.
Miss Mary E. Jones.
Nice.
There we go.
So it is starting to crackle a little bit. Doesn't take too long. I just don't want to force it too much because then we'll end up with cracking we don't necessarily like. But I'm just trying to speed the system a little.
Trying to see if we... Come on, I didn't see JL in there.
Oh, she's around.
Oh, I know she's around. She's always around.
We're starting to get a little bit of crackle in there.
Trying to speed up the process.
Well, I'm trying to, but I don't want to speed it up so much that we don't get what we want out of it. So essentially, this will look like an old porcelain. It takes on that, cracked glaze appearance. And once it's completely dry and you have all this fabulous crackle in there, you can apply a nice glaze to it so that you can really enhance the crackle so it shows up more.
Yep, JL's here. She says jump, jump, wave, wave.
There. So have we got a top-down shot?
Oh, we can have a top down.
Thank you. So when we look at this, it does take a little bit, and then when it completely dries, there's a point where it just takes off and starts crackling. But you can see that the cracks are starting to show in a few little spots in here.
Give me a second. Zoom in.
It is hard to see on a reflective surface. But there are a few little cracks starting to show. I do love this when it's finished because it gets that glazed porcelain look to it. And it's just so, so pretty. But, I'm starting to see a lot of it at the edges. It's a little finer at the edges. Of course, where it's thickest, towards the center, we're going to see a lot more. But it is starting to show. So, I don't want to force it too much because then we'll end up with
just a glaze.
Just a glaze with a whole bunch of big cracks in it. I don't want that. So what I'll do is I will take my butterfly once everything is completely dry, and I'm going to mount it so that it just slightly hovers over the surface. You can do that with almost anything, a small piece of wood with those little scrapbook adhesive things or small piece of cork, just something, 1/8 of an inch thick, just to have it so that it hovers slightly over the surface. It just makes the finished piece a little more interesting when it's not stuck onto the surface. It has a little elevation. So that makes it interesting. The other thing that I'll do when this is completely dry is I'll make a glaze with a little bit of gold metallic. And I'll go over top of this, let it sit for a minute, and then wipe it back. And the gold settles in all of those little cracks that show up in the glaze. And it just adds to the aged appearance of this piece. So there you have it, our morning glory piece with our little butterfly.
We might have to snap a picture of it once it's...
Yep, once it's completely dry. Well, they can see the original photograph. It has lots of crackle in it.
Yeah.
And then there is one other element that goes on this that I wanted to show you, but I'm not going to do it on this one because it's still wet. I'll do it on this just so that you can see it. So I need a stencil. I need something pretty. When you look at the original photograph, it has a little element in the upper left-hand corner. I'm going to find it. I'm looking for a specific stencil, so just bear with me for a moment. So any corner element will work fine for this. I have something particular in mind for mine, so I'm going to grab that stencil. Now that I've made a mess. And then I'm going to grab a heavy gel medium. And this is a really cool technique, and it looks spectacular. It's one of those things. So, got a heavy gel medium. Now you could do this. I used to do it with a product called Texture Glass, but they don't make that anymore. So, I'm going to use this heavy gel medium. It is somewhat gelatinous.
I hope so, being called gel.
Yep. But it will work just fine. It dries clear, so it's going to work perfectly for what we want to do. So I'm going to use this stencil. This is, it's an M square stencil. It is called Fleur de Lis, stylized Fleur de Lis. Can't remember the number.
One of them.
It is one of them. That's very helpful, my son.
Out of the, what,
80 some, yeah. So I'm going to, let me flip that over because I'm not happy with that side. There we go. So I'm going to line it up so that it sort of fills that corner. And then I'm going to put a thin layer of that heavy gel medium right over the image. Just like that. It's like buttering toast. Use it very sparingly. Apply it thin. Very little pressure. If you put too much pressure, it'll bleed under the stencil. And I'm just lightly skimming over top of this. And then you're going to, with a gentle pressure, scrape away any of the excess. Just gentle pressure. And then hold down one corner of the stencil and peel it back towards you to lift the stencil away. And that leaves a slightly elevated design on the surface, just slightly elevated. So
is M2-52.
52. Okay.
Nope. Yeah, Sandy beat me. Never mind.
So
I tried.
the nice part about this heavy gel medium is it dries crystal clear. You can't force it. It's not going to hurt it. But the fun part about it is that if you wanted to, you could actually mix a little bit of gold metallic with this beforehand. Just a couple of drops of gold metallic paint will give this a nice little shimmer. You could, while it's wet, sprinkle a little gold glitter in it if you wanted to. Or you can wait until your crackle is completely dry, apply your stencil with the clear gel, let it dry, and then add your gold glaze over top of that. So there's all kinds of ways that you can enhance this. But the fun part is that because it dries clear, it isn't an in-your-face design. It's just a hint of it.
Now, would you put crackle over a raised stencil design like that?
I wouldn't, simply because it's not going to sit as nicely as you'd like. But because it's transparent, all of the crackle underneath is going to show through.
Gotcha.
So as you can see, it is gradually disappearing as it dries. I love this effect. I think it's really, really quite spectacular.
Lucy's wondering if there's anything you don't know. In reference to Sandy McTeer.
Oh.
She knows everything.
Yeah, she's omnipotent.
Omnipotent.
She's omnipotent. Well, when her and I go and do stuff at Decor, she'll start a thought and I'll finish it, and vice versa. Sometimes it's just two people operating with the same brain. Is kind of weird. We finish each other's thoughts and sentences quite often, so. And she's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So this is almost dry, but I wanted to show you. This is just, it's a fun addition. See, it's just slightly elevated. It's less than 1 millimeter thick. It's no thicker than the stencil. But it gives just a nifty, raised, slightly shiny element to the background. So that when you add glaze over top of this, when the crackle medium and you put your glaze over, some of that glaze catches around the image. And so it's just a hint of pattern there. It's a unique and really interesting design element to add. And it's such a simple one to do. You can do the same thing with snowflakes. You can do the same thing with a variety of stencil patterns. Putting a diamond pattern, just to add a little metallic to the gel medium, gives it some flash. You can add any color acrylic paint to the gel medium, just for a little pizzazz. But just wanted to show you that technique because that's what I had planned to do and forgot to do it.
Yeah. Sandy's trying to inflate your ego.
My ego?
Yeah.
It doesn't need inflating.
She said, you're brilliant.
So it's just a fun element. And not to mention, it's pretty to
Two
put those
peas
little...
in a pod.
Yep. Zippity and doodah. That's us.
Zippity and doodah.
So that is our little binge of mixed media today.
Yay!
Well, I hope you guys had fun with this one. I enjoy these techniques a lot. I just find sometimes projects are a little over the top. There's so many things to do that it just gets a little intimidating. And sometimes you just have to come back to basics and just do a few simple things. And you're always pleasantly surprised at just how great things turn out. At least I am. For next Saturday, we are painting the You Pick Sunflowers. I love this piece. Yeah, I love this one.
Oh, they can't see it.
They can't see it? No, because my fluffy bot is hiding it. There we go.
There you go.
So this is the one we're painting next Saturday. Is You Pick Sunflowers or Sunflower Seeds. I love this one.
There you go.
I love this one. But I love sunflowers. So I've been playing with a new surface that I got from Southern Ridge Trading this week. I'm so excited.
Is it Halloweeny?
No, it's not. It's a cattle tag.
A cattle tag?
You know, the type that they
Yeah.
think. Anyway, it's a cattle tag, and it came with a little cow's head.
Oh,
So
cool.
I was playing with that. That's what I've been playing with for the last day and a half.
100% beef.
100% beef. No. Farm fresh milk.
Farm fresh milk.
So, and of course I put sunflowers in because I don't know. I just like sunflowers. I'm obsessed
Sandy
with
just
sunflowers.
noticed your sign.
Oh, I arted.
She loves it.
It was simple and to the point. So we're going to be doing the You Pick Sunflower Seeds next Saturday. The following Saturday, we're going to be doing Vintage Sweets, which is a Christmas piece called Vintage Sweets.
We're not doing Halloween at all.
Oh, yeah, we are.
She has something planned.
I have something planned, but I don't want to give it all away.
Gasp.
So, yeah. So we're doing Vintage Sweets the week after, which is going to be fun. It's an older pattern. It was actually a freebie with, let me think. All American. No, not All American. My brain shut off again. Anyway, it doesn't really matter, but it was a pattern that I did for them that they were given away, but now that copyright has reverted back to me. So we will have that pattern available for you, discounted, of course. And then we have a bunch of fun stuff to cover. Lots of fun techniques. We're going to be using the Christmas stamp that I have, the Stampendous Christmas stamp for that. And we're going to be working with 3 colors.
I did
4
not
colors.
make the sign.
What sign?
Everybody thinks I put that.
No. That's okay. You can take the blame.
No, I'm not taking the blame for this. No. I thought it'd be funny if the F was like hanging off.
No, I arted.
But no.
Oh, well. All right, guys, that's it for us this week. We'll update the website probably tomorrow afternoon with the new patterns and some other fun stuff that we've got planned for you. I will tell you this, there is a new printable available for you in the free printable section as well. So
Goodies.
grab your brushes, have some fun this weekend and enjoy your time, and happy fall. Hope everybody's enjoying all of this wonderful, cool weather. I am. I'm loving every second of it. I can't wait until it's cold enough to put on a fire. That's what I like.
See, Sandy thinks it would be hilarious to have the F hanging.
Oh, everybody thinks it.
Just dangling there.
Maybe we'll put it down at the bottom like it dropped off.
Even better. Gasping for air.
Yeah, okay. All right, guys, that's it for us today. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. If you aren't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. Hit the big red subscribe button And if you'd like to become part of our paid membership group and join in on the fun that we have every month, you can do that by hitting the blue join button. So the join button, the subscribe button, hit the like button to get involved in all of the giveaways and the prizes that we give away every week. And in the meantime, thanks so much for joining us. We love you, and please stay safe.
And follow her on TikTok.
Follow me on TikTok. I keep forgetting about that one.
Yes. Follow her on TikTok. She needs 1,000 followers to go live.
Yep. And that'll be fun.
After that, it's all good. We'll take it from there.
All right, guys. Stay safe. We'll see you again soon.
Wee. Wait. This one.
That one?
This.
Have you got it? Do you got it now?
No.
Oh.
It's not working.
For somebody who's so tech savvy.
It's not me.
Okay.
It's the software.
Okay.
There it goes.